All right, this is broadcast live. For those of y'all that are coming in, come on in. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube and Instagram, Periscope. We on everything. Come on in. We have the modern day. He's a mixture of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. So,
I'll take it.
so we need everybody to come on up in here. Gather yourself. And for those of you that are coming in, can we get you to share? As many as can we get you to share? All right, they coming on in. I see you. Coming on in. You might see a little delay on his end. You see all them trees behind him, and sometimes it's hard for the internet to make it to the woods. So if you feel a little buffeting, don't hold it against them. We're gonna hold it against nature. So for those of y'all that I'm honored to have this time with my brother, Pastor Jamal Bryant. I am his light skinned brother, and I'll let him go into explanation of that because our parents. You want to explain our connection and why I am the light skinned one of the
Let me
family?
tell y'all this. John Hannah is the son my parents deserve. He is such a nice guy. Everything they prayed for in the son is in John Hannah. I mean, he up early in the morning seeking God's face. He's consecrated. He's living upright. This is their son in whom they're well pleased. I am the son that gave them their prayer life. My mother wouldn't know how to pray. She would not be an intercessor if it were not for me. I charge the anointness over her life, but we are sibling rivalry. But I love him to the moon and back. I don't have a biological brother, but John Hannah is one of the closest things I have to it. And if you ask my mama,
That me and her. So
he has first access to the rites of passage.
I love that woman. When I tell you she is the real deal.
A couple of weeks ago, was that last? When did you have the 4 a.m. prayer?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I called my mother. I said, "Hey, what you doing?" She said, "I'm asleep." I said, "It's 11 o'clock. Why are you asleep?" I was up with my son praying this morning. Go to bed.
I love that woman. Every time I see her, when I came to your service at Newburgh, she said, "You keep up with him." I said, "I got him." You keep up with him. I said, "We got him."
Oh yeah, no, everything you do, she is lock, stock, and barrel.
No, I love your parents, and I'm
Thank
honored
you for that.
to be connected. And I just say this to you, Jamal, and I told you this when I came to your service. You are our picture of restoration.
Yes.
I mean, you
Yes.
are our picture of restoration. Some people ask, "Well, can you ever be restored?" I say, "Look in Atlanta.
Listen, won't he
It
do
is
it?
the perfect picture of restoration." And I say to people, "You owe us to see that."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honor you for going through publicly and being
Yeah.
restored publicly.
The amazing commodity of grace
Yeah.
is often something that we reserve for privacy.
Hmm.
So it was grace that I wasn't in the car accident.
Hmm.
It was grace that I don't have COVID
Right.
while I'm feeding these people on Saturdays.
Right.
What God makes you exhibit
Hmm.
is nothing that you volunteer for, but that you are drafted in. I have not had, Pastor, the luxury of failing in private.
That's good.
God has so orchestrated my life that my successes mirror my failures,
Come on.
and knew it was necessary for my humility. Otherwise, I'd be Clark Kent without a phone booth and just I'd just be in tights and boots all day. But it is really just amazing. I never in a million years thought I'd be pastoring in Atlanta. Never in a million years thought I'd be missionary Baptist.
Come on here.
Never in a million years did I think I would be following the person, Pastor, who paid for my college education.
Is that
And
crazy?
it really brings you full circle on the seeds you sow and how it is that it will come in a full manifestation and may not come in your lifetime.
So when you were
I
studying at Morehouse, there was nothing in the back of your mind that one day I'll end up back in this city.
never,
I know it.
never. I'm a third generation AME.
AME.
Yeah, so to be
Now, can you
Baptist,
explain that to the new generation what AME
yeah,
stands for?
African
African
Methodist
Methodist
Episcopal,
Episcopalian.
it is the oldest black denomination in the country. Our denomination was started in Philadelphia the same year that the Constitution was signed.
Wow.
And so it really gives birth to my theology and the conversation that me and Pastor Hannah are going to have today.
That's amazing. Um, we were talking about this conference, and I'm amazed by all the social justice and everything that's going on, and how there are some churches that say we're not called to that.
Yeah.
Um, I believe that we have been able to see with you that you can't separate the cross from social justice.
Yeah, I think, and I want to qualify it, is that everybody is not called to advocacy.
Mhm.
Everybody is not called to march or to protest, but everybody has a responsibility. And so, to that, I want people to flow in their gifts, but I need them to veer into that lane. And so, Pastor Hannah, as all of us know, has a mantle of prayer. I don't need Pastor Hannah to go to jail with me. I need
Thank you.
him to pray that I get out.
Thank you.
So I'm not looking around saying, man, why is Pastor Hannah not here when I know it's his call? And so I want to challenge pastors and leaders to look at various ways that you can be involved in a movement. One is if you're not going to protest and you have a call towards economics, bail nonviolent protesters out. You don't want these kids in your church, let them use Wi-Fi in your parking lot.
Come on.
You don't want to go, let the youth of your church borrow the van and let them go. And so I think that there's so many different ways. One of the critical points, Pastor, that is significant of why it is that we are disconnected is historically the Black Lives Matter movement is the very first civil rights movement for Black people in America that wasn't birthed in the church.
This is good.
It is the very first time that ministers have not been on the forefront.
Mm.
And so the significance for the one conference is noting the church has failed in how do you support what you don't lead.
Now this is good because most of us struggle with following
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
we're so used to being at the front.
yeah. If we are not on the program, then we don't participate. And so the significance for us in this season is how can I be a part of it and push it when I'm not on the program, I'm not giving the invocation, I'm not giving a benediction, words of comfort, or 2-minute reflections, but finding the power of presence.
One of the reasons that I definitely wanted to bring Pastor Jamal on, I need every leader, every pastor, every business owner to hear. You might not be able to do what they are doing, but you can do something. And the
Yes.
question is, then what can I do? And one of the things that I've always loved about Pastor Jamal Bryant is outreach, getting out of the four walls of the building. I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer that if you don't come out of your four walls in this season, you're not going to survive.
Pastor, I got to tell you this. I am now feeding 8 to 10,000 people a week with boxes of groceries. And I want to say this to pastors. Pastors, I need you all to lean in and hear this.
Mhm.
An old woman in my church, Sister Flossie, she's almost 80 years of age, called me in January and said, I want to do a food pantry. Now, I wasn't interested in no food pantry. I've never done a food pantry in my life. But she's an old lady, one of the mothers of the church. So I said, go ahead and do it. So the first month of January, we did 350 boxes of groceries a month. Did the same in February, and then COVID hit.
Mm.
Went from 1,000 a week to 8,000 a week to 10,000 a week. And here's what the pastors, I want you all to hear me and to be able to embrace, is you have to be able to accept ideas that are not yours.
This is good. Why does everybody want to say, I came up with this? How come I just can't say, I got this from here?
Yeah, yeah. And furthermore, that you can push ideas you're not passionate about. I pastored in Baltimore 19 years and never had a food pantry. I
Really?
would have never had one in Atlanta save this old lady in my church. And so I'm saying to you, this says several different messages. One, you can take insight from a generation that is not yours. And two, you can produce something that doesn't match your passion.
So I want everybody to hear me, and every leader to hear me, every business. What can I do, or what am I doing? If you come up with the answer of nothing, then we want to stir the gift up that is in you.
Yes.
And if anybody I know that can stir is you.
Yeah, no, you have to, and I want to say this, is you have to do an autopsy of your own community.
Come on.
And many of you are going to be frustrated if you're following the pattern of Pastor Hannah or Pastor Bryant, because we are in major metropolitan cities. And you're trying to replicate a model that does not match your location.
And you don't have the same needs.
You don't have the same needs or the same resource. And I want to remind you that David was not thrown out because of Bathsheba. He was thrown out because he counted.
Talk.
If you keep counting how many people you got, you're going to miss it. We are getting ready to walk into an era where mega doesn't matter.
Talk, man.
It is what is the burden of the passion. Our Sabbath day is now Saturday of when it is that I'm doing COVID tests, when it is that I'm feeding, when we're doing back to school supplies. And so people are coming through that line and asking me, are you the pastor at that church? Yes. Now note this, they ain't seen me on no Word Network.
Right.
They weren't watching me on no Streaming Faith. They are drawn to the ministry because of what we're doing in the community. And in case you don't know it, food insecurity is social justice work.
Talk, man.
We have focused it on police brutality and aggressive policing and mass incarceration. But the fact that the people in the community you pastor don't have vegetables to eat is an issue of social justice. The fact that these kids are going to school virtually and nobody is asking, where is your computer? Do you have Wi-Fi? That's a social justice issue. Later on, a few minutes from now, Pastor and I are going to talk about the whole issue of voting, and you all are not paying attention that they picking up them mailboxes from the Black community. And so your act of engagement may not be holding up a sign, it may be buying a book of stamps.
Come on, man.
And so finding how it is that you do it in that space, you have to have the nuance of creativity for where you are.
One of the things that I want to challenge, and I want everyone to hear me, that we're going to challenge Pastor Jamal is to give us some suggestive ideas of some outreaches that he can suggest to you, regardless of the size of your ministry, regardless of the size of your business, some things that you could do to serve your community. One of the scriptures that I stand on, he that is great among you must become servant.
Yes. So I want to give Pastor 5 things that you all can do. As the leaders, pastors, write this down. This is going to challenge you to do a meeting with your team and with your leaders after this is over. The amazing thing about the One Conference, it is not for emotional stimulation. It is to give you practical application of what you do when the conference is over. 5 things, very quickly. Number 1, here's what you have to know as educators. 35% of what kids learn in the school year, they forget over the summer. Stick a pin there. Our kids have been out since March.
Talk, man.
And so since they've been out since March, all of them, Pastor Hannah, if you can even fathom this, were pushed to the next grade with no proof of competency.
None.
They took no state standardized tests, no SATs, no performance. They just got pushed. So one of the things that we're doing is I'm pulling together all of my retired educators. My retired educators and my college students, here's the drum roll, who can't return this
Come
fund.
on.
And I bought 12 different Zoom licenses. The 12 different Zoom licenses is one for each grade, so that we have our own online tutorial after school program to help these people become proficient in basic understanding. That's one. That's dealing with education.
Okay.
The second one is dealing with food insecurity. And everything that I'm getting ready to tell you, pastors, I need you to have this, and I need you to sow a seed to pastor in one conference. All of these I'm giving you require nothing from your church budget.
Talk.
Nothing from your church budget. Second is what it is that we're doing is the food pantry. It may be very small. That every grocery store throws out dented canned foods. Ask them to give it to you. Just because the can is dented, it doesn't mean that the food is bad.
Talk,
So
man.
get all of that Campbell soup and then give that back out.
Okay, we're gonna stop you right there because we want them to register for the one conference, and you'll get the other 3 points starting.
We're giving you those two for free.
We gave you those 2 for free. If anything, guys, I need you to hear me. I have a passion, and I'm saying this respectfully. I live in the Black community. I love the Black community. I worship in the Black community. I eat and shop in the Black community. I love my people. And one of the things I know that I'm called to do is to serve my people. If you only go into church and only go on to work and you don't have a tray, you're going to leave this earth. And the moment that you die, the earth will never speak of you.
Pastor, 92%, somebody write this down, 92% of what Jesus did was outside of the church. Now, 92% of what we do is in the church.
In the church. And this
So
is why
what
it's closed
COVID
right
has
now.
forced us to do is to take the sanctuary outside of the walls. So figure out what it is that you can do to impact that community. George Bonner says, what is the impact of your church being closed other than freeing up parking spaces?
Talk,
If
man.
only you're just taking up parking spaces on Sunday and Wednesday, it is of no value to the community.
All right. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to register. If you go to pastors1conference.com and you look at the screen, it says J Bryant 10. If you key that in the code, you'll get a 10% discount. We are already over 700 plus people, pastors from around the world and leaders who are registered. Now listen, some of y'all say, well, I have to work. We have it set up that it will remain on the site for 7 days. So even if you have to work Thursday and Friday, you have 7 days to go back and get it. If you feel like I need to listen again to Pastor Jamal Bryant, you can go back and listen again.
Now let me say this to you. Many of you all know Pastor Hannah from the prayer mantle. You know him from early morning prayer. I pull out the secular side of Pastor Hannah, and he is not going to be able to let me rest if Negroes don't register during my time. Y'all gotta use my code, JBryant10, because I will never hear the end of it.
I would say you don't have any oil whatsoever. I would say you walk around here Ichabod. We couldn't even get 5 people to register under
JBryant10. Y'all please use my code. Register your youth pastor, register your secretary, register the drummer, but I need you all to please register somebody during my season, please.
If nobody registers for his session, this is what we call the Last Supper.
Oh my God. Oh my God. One of you will betray me. I need you. I need one of y'all to register. I need 12 of y'all to register because one of y'all's card ain't going through. So I don't know who's going to betray me, but I need somebody to register now, please.
All you have to do is go to pastors1conference.com. The code is JBryant10. If you do that, you get 10%. Let me ask you this. So did you hear Michelle Obama's speech last night?
Did I? Listen,
If you
she's the forever
didn't hear
first
it,
lady.
please go to YouTube and listen to Michelle Obama's speech. Now, Michelle Obama, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, no, she did
You,
it.
you
Chicago
have to
represent.
listen to her speech
Yeah,
last night.
yeah, only 13 minutes. You got time. Go watch it.
Between her and that what's the old man? Bernie Sanders?
Oh yeah, Bernie wasn't playing.
Bernie
Bernie,
from New
this is
York.
my
So you know they got
last
a little
shot.
thug in there.
This is my last shot on the respirator. I gotta do something. He left it all on the altar.
But you have to go watch Michelle Obama and the importance of voting. Let me just
Yes.
let you hit that for a minute. Because what can a church do to make sure that their congregation is definitely being taken care of as far as voting? You have to vote.
Yes. So at the one conference, the reason why it is that you have to register, pastors, hear me. I will be introducing to all of the pastors who are registered to one conference a free piece of data that will let you know who in your membership base is actually registered. It'll be absolutely free. You'll only be able to get it from the one conference. This is my first time even announcing it. It'll run through it. Nobody, you don't have to send anybody your database, your membership rolls. You'll do it right there. It'll filter through the national voter dating base. This is only for pastors at the one conference. Then we'll tell you how to send alerts, how to send your mail-in voting, how to do absentee voting, all for our pastors. So everybody who wants to make sure you have 100% participation, you have to register, and all of the software I'm going to give you for this election will be free for the pastors of one conference now.
Well, you somebody.
Man, tell your neighbor.
You somebody. Let me tell you something. Everybody needed Jamal Bryant in their life. You need this one. You need this one. All right, guys, go and register. It's at pastors1conference.com. Use his code because if he come up here with no numbers, I'm going
Listen,
to go live after the conference is over and say
listen,
Jamal did not catch one fish.
listen. Did you tarry all night?
I love you, man.
I love you more than that. Thank you. I'm excited about one conference. We're going to change the world
We
one
are.
leader at a time. Thank you.
That's all I want to do. All right, my people, make sure that you log on. Thank you, bro. I know you got a lot of things to do. I appreciate you.
All right. See you soon.
All right. All right. Those of you that are watching right now, wherever you are in the world, you can register at pastors1conference.com. Again, if you use the code right now, it's only going to be up for 24 hours. It's J Bryant 10. That is the code that you would use to get the 10% discount. It's J Bryant 10. It's only going to be up under that name for 24 hours. Tomorrow, yesterday we did. If you didn't listen to the interview with Bishop Jakes, go back and listen to that interview. It is on all the platforms that you're watching me on right now. Dr. Hilliard, she shut it down. Go back and listen to that. For everyone in business, those of you that believe that God has called you to start a business, every pastor, there's a business side. Charles Johnson interview yesterday was amazing. And we all know the Godfather himself, the Bishop of the world, Bishop T.D. Jakes, dropped so many bombs yesterday that when I hung up, I just sat there for a minute to get myself together. And we all know, I believe that Pastor Jamal Bryant is anointed to stretch us out of the four walls of our church. Guys, going to church is not going to make it anymore. But some of y'all don't know what to do. This is why we're bringing people in who could tell you some things that you could do or that you can do to stretch your ministry. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking to Pastor Darius Daniels. You must have a vision to go forward in this day and time. So we're going to be talking to him about vision, creating a new vision, writing that vision down, and how do you make sure that you stick to it. All right, I love you guys. I will be back tonight for my Tuesday night prayer meeting. I have something special for you. All right, I got to go. Holla.